thanks, mate, for coming on again, Alex. And
Yeah, no trouble.
I appreciate it, mate. We've got our time sorted out, so that's the
Yeah,
main
we
thing.
got there in the end. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is your first issue, 14141.
hmm
So may I ask, where was it that you found it?
This was it was kind of probably started a little bit before this magazine came out when Hero Quest was out in the UK. The adverts were on the telly quite regularly, and I was really captured by the game when I was younger, and I was pestering my mum and dad to let me get hold of it. And eventually for Christmas, I think it was probably Christmas 1990, they bought me Hero Quest, which I absolutely loved, and Space Crusade followed after that. And I think I was quite content with that, but I spotted this magazine just kind of randomly when I was out with my grandparents, and convinced them that it was a crucial part of the games I had, and that they were convinced to let me pick it up. So I got my hands on this first White Dwarf, the cover by, I think it's David Gallagher's artwork of the Eldar and the Orcs. Absolutely, it captivates the whole battle scene going on there. It's brilliant.
Yeah, no, Dave did a lot of these great battle scenes for a lot of the covers, actually, didn't he? Through this era as well.
Yeah. And
So,
all the aspect warriors all in there, in the middle of combat there with the Orcs. Looks like they're dominating by the look of the Orcs on the floor.
yeah, and I love the warlock, and his casting some kind of psychic power of this is summoning some kind of electricity, whether it's actually supporting his troops or devastating the orcs. I'm not sure, because he's looking at his own guys.
Yeah, it looks like he could be casting some sort of assistance, guide, or fate on one of his own guys.
Yeah, they got the Phantom Titan in the background.
Yeah.
Yep, very evocative image, eh? Very cool. All right, let's get into it. So we're greeted here by the Space Hulk campaigns. Any experience of Space Hulk, mate? First edition?
Not the first two. I did probably the third edition that came out in the mid 2000s. That was convinced me to head down to a Games Workshop, probably for the first time in a little while back then. Pick it up when it came out, the third edition. The artwork there with the Gene Stealer cult kind of in full effect. So again, the really captures the different types of hybrid you can get, from pretty human looking to the full on almost complete Gene Stealer. It's with the models that were coming out back then, it was really captured the imagination in terms of what you could take to the battlefield.
Yeah, it's captivated me, I think, in the last week or so. We've been talking about it, and I've opened up a new little a room on the text channels in the Discord for Space Hulk, because, yeah, I mean, it's a very much loved game. I've had dealings with the third edition, but I wasn't really taken completely with the game itself. But I think first edition has a lot more potential, because it has the hybrids, it has added rules and supplements through these White Dwarves from in the 140s, 50s, 60s. So it's got a lot of good support there. So
yeah, they really fleshed it out.
Yeah, they did, mate. I think they've got a lot more going for it, I think, for the first edition. So I'm quite excited about it. Now, through the contents here, we've got, of course, the cover, Eldar Aspect Warriors by Dave Gallagher. We've got some store news, some Citadel miniatures news, Space Marine. This is going to be the unveiling of Space Marine. The Canadian grand openings, a Wood Elf Army by Mike McVey, which is quite special. Games Day 1991, the Alatok Craftworld versus the Blood Angels, which is a 40k Rogue Trader battle report by Andy Chambers and Jervis Johnson. Golden Demon Awards 1991, Space Fleet, and the back cover, which we'll get to, which are the Eldar Howling Banshees, Fire Dragons, and Guardians, Storm of Blood Angels, Space Marines, Stronghold. So all that to look forward to in this issue. We've got the black and white photos of the usual suspects. We've got Andy Chambers, Jervis Johnson, Andy Jones, Mike McVey, and Rick Priestley. All right, let's go to the next page. Now you're from the UK, Alex. Any of these stores your favorite, mate? Your favorite hangouts back then?
The Beckenham store, which is no longer around, that was where I had to convince my dad to drive me over to. Not too far away, but it was a bit of a trek, so not a journey I could take by myself back then. But yeah, I can remember him driving me over to the Beckenham store when they were running their 3 for 2 offers or the sales, and taking in the coupons and trying to grab as many bargains as I get my hands on. Yeah, to say the Beckenham one's gone, the Croydon one's moved, but being South London, that was kind of the area that I could get to, and they opened one in Bromley not too long after this. I think it's probably about 92, 93, so I could get myself there and spend my time browsing the aisles and looking at all the new stuff.
Did you have a games club that you used to go to play these games at all, or just at the Games Workshop?
It was probably more just friends, meeting up with friends from school or from around where I lived, and you'd spend the time setting up as many miniatures as you could. It was normally Space Marine or 40k, and then we started playing Necromunda as well when that dropped, and it was you have no concept of time. You probably get one turn in before it was time to go home again, but it was always great to get as much on the battlefield as possible and have a great looking table.
Nice, mate. That's great. Good memories. Okay, so we've got the news section here. We've got D-Rock, Wyver Records, and yeah, I've never heard of D-Rock, never heard of their music, but I'm quite interested to know what they're like. I've really got into Bolt Thrower. Do you like Bolt Thrower, mate?
I've dabbled a little bit in some of the Bolt Thrower stuff this year, but yeah, it's it's great to see the artwork on the cover, and the titles of the songs are really straight away. It's all completely linked into the Space Marines and the Games Workshop aesthetic, isn't it? So it's I think the cover, the album cover and stuff is it's got some great artwork on it.
Yeah, because I think D-Rock had the Space Marine cover, didn't they? The original Space Marine Al Pacino kind of style cover. So yeah, it was cool. No, really enjoying going back and listening to a lot of the music from Warhammer Records, because they did have a record label, which is still amazing to me. Now these four game sets that came out during the very early 90s, did you pick up any of these, either Space Fleet, Crunch, Mighty Warriors, or Ultramarines at all, mate?
I didn't know. These ones all kind of they passed me by a little bit, because these were kind of more of a introductory games, weren't they? Mm-hmm. In terms of trying to bring people in from possibly outside the usual sphere. They had the tray, the dropping the dice into the tray to see where you hit, which was in the Space Fleet game, I believe. And I think it says in here that all the other new ones use the same combat tray system. So I'm not entirely sure how that would have worked in the other games if you had to see which part of where the shots hit or miss in terms of where they land in the box. But it's a system that's open to exploitation.
Yeah, it was a great game. I remember I picked up Ultramarines from a local comic store, and it was a fantastic game. Yeah, really good fun. So it was basically the spin-off from Space Hulk. Had all the tiles and that kind of thing where you can make up your own. I don't think it had preset like Hulks to make. I'm not sure, or whether you just made it up yourself, and I can't remember. It possibly had their own sort of diagrams in the back where you had to make your own preset Space Hulks, and you'd fight your way. Each person would have their own chapter of scouts they would take, with a heavy bolter and a sergeant and 3 other Marines. Yeah, really good. It was really good fun. So I sort of miss it now.
So that was using the same models from Advanced Space Crusade, was it? The
exactly,
scout team.
That's right. A beautiful model too. Yeah, I really like those.
Yeah,
they're great, fantastic figures. So here we got the introduction of Space Marine. This is the transition between the first edition of Space Marine to second edition. Rick Priestley gives a lot of in-depth sort of what we're going to expect with this new edition when it comes out. Did you play a lot of Space Marine at all, Alex?
Yeah, Space Marine was this kind of, in part because of this issue. It was just coming out. It was the brand new thing to have. And again, you see the images on here with the jet bikes and so forth. Just the whole army displayed in combat was really just drawing me in. So to know it was just coming out and there was stuff to to explore in terms of the box as well came with 3 armies, didn't it? It was the 3 full sets of the Eldar, the Space Marines, and the orcs. So it was I remember spending quite a bit of time sitting around slapping the paint on the minis as best I could back then, which wasn't that great in terms of anything that anyone would want to talk about. But it was a great time to just to get into the game. Really, it was all just happening now. So it was I played quite a bit of Space Marine.
Yeah, me too, mate. So I think it was a gateway for many of us who couldn't afford all those LED models from Warhammer Fantasy or 40K. This is the best way to get in because you got a box set, and according to Rick Priestley, this is the start of it. Like before 4th edition and 40K, 2nd edition, this kind of set the template for everything that followed. So it was a box with everything you needed: terrain, models, dice. And
the expansion boxes all came in. It was the big deep boxes, wasn't it, where you had models for almost every faction within a single box to start with.
That's right.
Very easy to get the bug for all the armies, not just one army. You collected everything almost. If you wanted one, you got them all.
That's right, mate. So you got a good start. It gave you a really good basis for the core of your army. And I think back in those days, they were still selling the 1st edition army box sets. So when you bought one of those, you got enough minis in there to make a very substantial army. So it was very much, and the game itself is fantastic. It still holds up today.
Yeah, definitely. It's I've got as part of the lockdown syndrome at home. It was up into the loft and taking the time to finally go through the Epic Space Marine collection and kind of dust it down and sort it all out. So it's been fun to revert to go back to it. But yeah, it's a really good game.
Good,
as you
mate.
say, it still holds up.
You're gonna do our Epic Space Marine painting challenge.
Yeah, I'm underway. I've got my Praetorian Guard, Imperial Guard, 1,000 points underway to try and get that over the line for this month.
Nice, mate. That's good to see. So here we go. We've got the Toronto and Vancouver grand openings. Did you attend any grand openings in the UK at all, mate?
Never a grand opening, no. I think I'm fairly sure they did a yearly sale at some point, but I remember definitely being able to cut out some coupons and take them to Beckenham to get some, like you were saying about the Scouts. They used to have a box with was it Terminators and Tyranids that was the Space Hulk and the Advanced Space Crusade minis all in one box together. So you've got a librarian and the hybrids, and I remember picking that up with probably some of the Epic stuff as well, and the old Beaky Space Marine box. So I definitely would have been using a sale for that. I wouldn't have been able to walk out of all there with all spending that kind of cash back then. So I would have needed to have coupled them to have a dot on to get them for free.
Yeah. Now they're really good at, weren't they? Like, these kind of grand openings, you could save quite a fair bit of money. It's really 25% off. That's pretty good. So had some really good specials. Now we come to probably the main feature of this particular issue was Mike McVey's Wood Elf army that he must have arranged with the studio at that time to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is my proposal of, making this Wood Elf army. I'm going to document it and write everything down, take photographs, and then present it in a White Dwarf article at some point. But it's quite an iconic looking army, isn't it?
Yeah, he's put together some fairly, the old monopose, pretty standard looking Wood Elves, and they're really striking the way he's put them together and he's tied it all together as well. He talks through the article about the image being the central part of his kind of process here, and how he's decided how it's all going to look. The banners all tied together, and the stylings he's put on the detail kind of link units together. It's a really striking force that he's built here, and it's a great article in terms of how to build an army really from start to finish. He goes through all the different elements of how he's adopted his painting style to getting the rank and file done at the same time as giving a bit more time to the champions. And he talks about his thought process, as I said, for the banners, so they all tie together around a central theme while being different for the different units.
Yep, no, it's a very, very beautiful looking army. And the banners themselves, the whole theme, like as you say, it really ties the whole thing together. But yeah, obviously it's designed for a third edition army, but it could easily be. I think it was actually featured in a fourth edition battle report later on, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, no, amazing conversions, and I think Mike goes through all the conversions that he did.
Yeah, it's a really detailed breakdown with that war dancer throwing the banner there.
Yeah, and it seems weird that like how it's positioned, but I can see like reading through, how he sort of thought about it, and what it sort of meant to him, that it was sort of like him throwing it in motion and he was going to catch it, kind of thing, as he like sort of flipping it and flicking it around with his hand. It made sense then, because yeah, looking at it, this seems weird. This seems like it's just sort of stuck on his hand on the outside. After reading the article, it sort of made sense. But yeah, great conversion. Yeah, I like all the war paint, especially around their eyes and the war dancers and the whole.
Yeah, the Celtic influences coming through there, and a classic theme for this kind of era, isn't it? Again, the Space Marine Scouts tended to have the eye war paint as a stripe.
They did
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the images there, the hacksaw and everything he's got going on, cutting it all up and fitting it all together. I think back then it encouraged me to chop up a few minis, but they never came out looking quite as good as probably part to do with the paint job he's put on it as well. Really
crying at the end of that, yeah, mate. I bet, yeah, because soaring up a quite expensive model is quite ambitious, I think, especially for a young modeler. Nowadays we'll probably get away with it, but yeah, back those days it was quite the challenge. But yeah, really nice looking chariot. It's like the old third edition looking chariot, which I think is pretty standard, apart from the banner and the banner pole that he's made there. But
he even says that the magic items on the characters on the chariot are depicted in the banner. So he's gone all in with the army list fitting the units painted up. One list only from this paint job, which is a great commitment.
Yeah, cool. And this is the most iconic one, I think. This War Dancer or Hero, Wood Elf Hero on the giant eagle. Yeah, that's an incredible piece, that one.
Yeah. The tattoos again, and the way he's, as you say, he's converted it to. It looks like it could have just been a release, a general release there, rather than something he's put together just with an eagle without a rider on it. It all fits nicely together without looking like it's just been bent about and stuck on by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. It's a really nice piece.
Yeah, it that's like you say, like it looks like something that you could probably order for the mail order. So it would have baffled people looking at that, thinking, how do I get that model? But yeah, you have to read the issue, see how Mike actually did it, because it's quite involved and it'll take quite some experience to pull that off.
Yeah, I think the legs are just bent and repositioned, as you say. It's to get that to look as good as it does without it bending and breaking would have taken a lot of time.
Yeah, especially dealing with like really soft metal back in those days. So he goes through the points and the total army points that he's costed up there with his characters and rank and file. Mate, did you play a lot of third edition at all back in the day?
The Warhammer, no, it was all the sci-fi for me. It was either 40k or the Space Marine tended to be my focus.
Right. So I don't know exactly, how to create a third edition army, but it gives you, the ranks and characters there for Mike's army anyway. But I know he used it in 4th edition battles and that kind of thing later on. There we go. There's D-Rock with a nice bit of Wayne England artwork with a Terminator symbol here. Get out of my way. Now, apparently Brian May helped them to do some of the guitar tracks on that particular single. So,
okay.
Yeah, I was reading that in the news section earlier. So
wow, because I mean, I tracked down the old bulk thrower stuff on iTunes, but the D-Rock doesn't seem to be there. For me anyway, I couldn't find any of that stuff on there. I think it's on YouTube, but it was
right
missing from the iTunes.
I'll have to go and have a listen, mate, because I've not listened to D-Rock, so I'll do that after our meeting today and check it out, see what it's like. But it's out now in 1990. Is this 1991?
91, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I can see a picture of a very young John Stallard here with his Games Workshop shirt on. In the picture here for the Games Day 91, the Gaming League's championship. This is quite interesting. I had a good read through this because I wasn't aware there was a gaming league. Did you have any involvement with that at all, Alex?
No official kind of gaming. I said in the stores, it was more just meeting up with friends at local houses and so forth. So
yeah, it's quite weird, because they had like Advanced HeroQuest Advanced HeroQuest tournament, which is quite unbelievable to me. I don't know you could actually have a tournament playing Advanced HeroQuest, but it seemed like having read through the article, I can see why. Like they had basically the best of each store. They're groups of people who, if you played Space Hulk or Advanced HeroQuest or whatever game it was, and they all met at this Games Day to battle it out to see who would be the grand winner at the end of it. So the Advanced HeroQuest tournament, they actually had all these groups competing against each other and the monsters in the dungeon. So they're all playing together, basically. Wow. So you could actually fight against each other as well. So yeah, it sounded really cool. I would love to see it. Be really good. Did you ever get to see a Games Day at all?
I got to 2 Games Days, 97, which was a lot later. Obviously, it's a bit older, and that was the one with the large battle of is it Black or the Orc River? But the Praetorians, the big display they had for 97, they had the Gorka Morka stuff just coming out. They had I think the limited edition one was the Orc Knob, and then I got to 2012, obviously a lot later than that, which was one of the last ones I ever did, actually. Me and my friends took a journey up to well, first of all, we started on Nottingham, went up to the Warhammer World on the Saturday, and then went back to the Games Day on the Sunday, made a weekend of it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, mate. So yeah, we would have been really quite the day to go down there and participate in some of these games.
We were just finishing up a Necromunda campaign, so we turned up at Weimar World and played our final Necromunda campaign game on one of their big 8x4 tables, which was pretty special. The big city fight terrain they had back then made a perfect table to play some Necromunda on.
An 8x4, that's huge. Yeah.
it was a big finale. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so they had a Space Fleet tournament, and looks like they had games of Space Marine. These are the league championships, of course, as well. So Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Space Hulk, Blood Bowl, and you could win a league trophy at the end of that. So that's quite cool. You could visit the Raven Armory, where they made the Golden Demon swords and that kind of thing. Marauder Miniatures had a stand there. You can buy paints and brushes, GW books, T-shirts, all that kind of stuff. Really awesome. Yeah, I would love to go and see an old Games Day. That'd be great, I think, to meet all the personalities and that kind of thing. And then we've got a nice, we've got the Games Day 91 model there. That's the Space Marine captain, which is a really cool figure. Which I had.
Really nice.
I think I had one of those back in England. I don't know where it went, but I did have one of those at some stage. Yeah, really nice model. And then we've got a Marauder Miniatures Dwarf Army Special offer. So how much is it going to cost us? Does it give it a price? I don't think it's a price. It's only points. Oh no, here we go. £55 for 40 warriors, or £40. So there's two different deals. Yeah, so really, really good pricing compared to nowadays. That's for sure.
Yeah, and those were the like the Imperial Dwarves, weren't they? Those ones, the Marauder ones.
Yeah, they had the Imperial Dwarves, all the spears, which cost an absolute fortune nowadays. A lot of clansmen, troll slayers, and artillery pieces. So yeah, it's
really nice.
Quite a nice deal. Okay, here we go. The Alatok Craftworld versus Blood Angels. This is something that would interest you then, Alex, if you like your 40k, mate.
Oh yeah. This was the article really that kind of, along with the Space Marine introduction, it was this, seeing the battle played out through the magazine and seeing everything on the table. It was brilliant back then, just kind of reading through it and rereading it, really looking at the way the forces lined up. It was no real surprise that Blood Angels and the Eldar were my two favorite forces, having seen them here. So yeah, it really kind of influenced my direction of playing 40k really for the next 7 or 8 years, reading through this stuff.
Nice. So your earliest introduction to 40k was through Rogue Trader?
Yeah. The battle report here, and as I said, playing with the Rogue Trader rulebook as fast and loose as a 10, 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Just getting stuff on the table really, and lining them up and having a good time with my friends. The two forces there, they look brilliant, both of them.
Yeah, amazing, aren't
they? All the banners, which is very much a Rogue Trader staple, wasn't it, really, with the models that came out back then.
Yeah, even though like the Aspect Warriors are painted pretty basically like this, they basically just had like a base coat of paint on it. That's it.
Yeah.
Quite a bizarre one. I don't know why that was, but whether there was some kind of transition happening in the studio where they just had a lack of time or something, I'm not sure. So I don't know what happened there, but obviously that changed when second edition came out and they had they had all the models painted up beautifully. But the Blood Angels look amazing.
Really the characters there, the chaplain.
Yeah.
The medic. They look really nice. Nicely painted.
Beautiful models. Yep. Cool terrain. The maps. Yeah. You can see the evolution of those maps. I think these are the maps that they that they used, which were like all hand drawn, and then they made sort of they made their own sort of icons by hand as well, and they sort of had to lay it out onto paper and either photograph it or scan it or something like that. So before desktop publishing became a thing, basically.
Yeah, and it really details what it gives a good narrative rundown of the game as well. It's kind of a blow by blow, which is the approach that really kind of draws you in.
Yeah.
To the way the battle's being fought.
And some really cool Jez Gooden artwork here as well.
Yeah, and the terrain as well. I mean, it's I think the last page back on it was just a twig of some kind with some long grass around it, but it all works. It all came together and made a really evocative battle report.
Yep,
an article.
Mate. Yeah, for sure. So it would have definitely started a few Eldar players, that's for sure, during that time. I'm sure of it. So this is Golden Demons 91 grand finalists. Got some nice entries here. None that I can remember personally. I think maybe this is sort of before my time, what I got into Games Workshop and the hobby. But any of these sort of stand out for you at all?
The scratch built Bandblade was again, apparently an ultramarine Bandblade, but it's the process there is detailed as how to put it together in a previous White Dwarf, but it would have taken some doing. A great paint job on that.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Really cool.
I think we got the Goth Rock band vehicle there as well, which I assume at some point that used to be a battle wagon underneath all of that, and that's been hugely converted into the Goth Rockers stage.
Yeah, what a crying shame that is. I mean, if you use it in battle and you put all your orcs and all that, maybe it's quite good, but otherwise, yeah, just have that as well, I suppose it doesn't matter. And I don't know, for me personally, like all these huge vignette pieces, it doesn't really interest me so much. But then I've never done one myself. Maybe if I did one myself, I'd be really quite chuffed with it, and it'd be like just a nice display piece to put in the cabinet. But yeah, I don't know. It just takes a special kind of person to do those kind of things, and the dedication time to put into that kind of stuff. I do love the old school kind of like cutaway diorama. They're just like a box, and it looked like a picture frame basically. And they had I really love those ones. I think they're awesome. But some really good work here from Peter Cook. I like the Orc Freebooter vignette. It's quite cool with the atmospheric sort of setting and the like the smoke coming out of the barrel of the gun and all that kind of thing. It was quite cool. And this other one, this Ian Spence vignette with looks like they are
Thousand Suns, is it coming through the portal or protecting the portal?
And he sort of cut one in half, or cut maybe it's not cut in half, but he sort of just set it within that warp gate from one of the Space Crusades Chaos Marines, fighting against the Grey Knights. It looks like. Yeah, that's a really cool one. And this John Toyer vignette, it looks very reminiscent of those really early 90s vignettes when they had all this kind of brown yellow ochre style to them, which made it very difficult to distinguish exactly what was happening inside it or what you can make out of it. Yeah, it was very particular style. I remember a lot of those coming through in the early 90s or late 80s. When people did these kind of things. Yeah.
Kind of Ian Miller-esque almost, and John Blanche kind of style.
Yeah, very much. Very much so. Very much so. Oh, hang on. Okay, then we've got Space Fleet, the flagships. Now, I don't think we've got an awful lot to say about this because both of us have never played it.
Not really, no. I mean, it's just really just impressive how much aftercare they gave to this game. Bearing in mind it was just an introductory game for the spaceships, and they've really gone to town in how much additional rules and the depth they've gone into to boost the game really for something that was just a standalone box set. I think there's some scenarios and so forth, and 20 odd scenarios and 20 subplots. So all of a sudden, and reading those scenarios, they're pretty good jumping off points for any game system scenarios really. They look like they could be used across the board for 40k or for Epic Space Marine if you wanted a narrative game.
I didn't actually know until recently that there was a Battlefleet Gothic, like an edition, like an original one. I think Richard Halliwell developed that game, and this was a spin-off of that. So I was not aware of that until recently. I thought Battlefleet Gothic was developed by Andy Chambers, but there was an original one made in the late 80s. Apparently it was unplayable and no one played it. So that they probably developed Space Fleet so people could actually play it. And then
to get it to the table.
yeah, and then maybe Andy developed, Battlefleet Gothic, his version of it later. It became very much a commercial success. But here we got some White Dwarf subscriptions, a special offer with some really great covers here, all the way back from issue 71, all up to 139.
Yeah, those magazines then from like 88 to 91. It's amazing how much of Games Workshop's kind of lore and everything was just condensed into that small period. The releases they had back then, the Eldar and the Gene Stealers, and the kind of the formation of the lore to move forward happened in a pretty short space of time.
It did, didn't it, mate? Because I think from 71 to about 89, it sort of seemed very much still into the role-playing side of things. And then 108 looks like Adeptus Mechanicus. Is it Adeptus Mechanicus was released, the box game, with all the Titans, if I'm getting that title right. It looks like that was released then. And then
Adeptus Titanicus, yeah.
Adeptus Mechanicus, wasn't it? Yep. And then looks like Hero Quest was released after that, and you can see the covers of those.
I think the Scots got their army list was it around 110, 113, somewhere around there,
right.
I think.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of things happening over those issues there, those 10 or so issues that came out after that. So the company was definitely changing, that's for sure. So we've got some ships here. I've never seen these ones. I've never seen anybody, like I said before we recorded, Alex, I've never seen anybody play Space Fleet. I've never seen any of these ships anywhere, not even in like sales groups or anything like that. They must be as rare as anything now.
That Dictator's battleship. I mean, I can't imagine any grimdark pilots deciding to put on the scary face on the side, but that's what they went with here.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, it looks like the pulsar rocket from the Orcs and Space Marine. That's that kind of look they're going for. But yeah. But they're painted beautifully though. Like I think all the iconography, I'm not sure if they're transfers or they're hand painted. But wow, that's quite a lot of detail for such a small ship. So if anybody has played Space Fleet and would like to leave some comments in the video below, please do so. Tell us how you went with it. Like, was it successful for yourself or not in your play group? Was it a fun game or not? Did you really miss out on something? So maybe the White Dwarf articles or supplements that came out for it, maybe it made it into a really great game. So we don't know. All right. So if you want to become one of the production staff at Games Workshop, here's your chance. Just send your letter of resume to the guys there if you want a retail career opportunity. Then that's how I started. Did you ever work for Games Workshop at all, Alex?
No, I didn't. It was, I guess, kind of the time to coming up to looking for a job. It was being too heavily involved in Games Workshop was not really seen the way to. It was more going to the pub and everything, and so it kind of, unfortunately, around 16, 17, Games Workshop went on the shelf for me for probably about 5 or 6 years. So.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough, mate.
Missed that window.
Yeah. But if I had my time again, I would love to work for Games Workshop back in the late 80s and go through the whole transition of all those great games coming through, from that time into the 90s. Yeah, it'd been really good. Would have been really good fun.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said at the beginning when we were looking at the White Dwarf team, it was it's a Hall of Fame list of alumni in terms of who was writing the White Dwarf as to what they were going to go on and do for the game systems they developed over the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, for sure, mate. For sure. Now, I think these scenarios are also part of Space Fleet, so it's got quite a number of pages in this issue. So if you're a fan of Space Fleet, you're in heaven, I think. You got so much stuff to go through. It's got a scenarios tab, which I was looking through before, which is quite cool.
yeah, like I said, I mean, there's a lot here to take and use for anything really. Any system would benefit from, if you wanted some narrative scenarios, just roll up on a D20.
Yeah.
And there's subplot table as well, and you're off and running.
Yeah. No, great stuff. So again, yeah, if anybody's had any experience with Spade Fleet, let us know. Or was it a good game or not? Do you still have your fleets? Do you still play it? I'd be quite interested to see that and hear about it, because as far as I know, I've never seen anybody post anything about it. So it just seems like one of those games that sort of just slipped by and no one picked up on it. So you've got the mail order section here. And here you could, of course, buy incredibly cheap models at the time, in retrospect, of course. But yeah, get your MasterCard ready or Visa and fill out that form and send it away.
Yeah, £3 for
you'd get
4 wood elves.
yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, so
crazy prices.
Yeah, absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Although I think when I had one experience with mail order, when I think it was 149. Sometime later, they mispriced the volley gun for the Empire. So, not that I knew at the time, I filled out my form and sent it off and waited however long it was, a couple of months, and it came back and with the check still included and said, sorry, we got the price wrong, so you have to try again.
Oh my goodness! I was wondering what that was like, because I've never done that before, and we always sort of contemplate what would happen if something got, if you got something wrong or whatever. So there you go. That's evidence then, Alex. That
yeah, they just sent back the check and said, yeah, we made a mistake, so put your order in again.
Wow.
Which was, as an 11-year-old, you're sitting there waiting for the pack of volley guns to arrive. It was a disappointing letter instead.
Yeah, I can imagine. What an inconvenience, eh? But yep, that's what it was like back then. Unless you go to the store directly and pick it up. Did they actually send orders to stores that you could pick up back in those days? Remember? I
don't think they did. I don't think so. I think, to be fair, you could probably get most of the stuff in the store, but no, it was if you could get there. But no, I think it was supposed to come direct back to me.
Right. And then we come to the Flame section, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Any roleplay experience, mate, at all?
I picked up the later edition that Fantasy Flight Games put out, the third edition, which is very different to the first two and the fourth one, I think. It's all about dice rolls far more than the Fantasy Flight like to have their symbols on the dice. So it's kind of this very symbol-orientated combat system. But the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the character classes are similar. So you've got your rat catchers and the sorted Empire residents, not necessarily your heroes so much as the careers turn you down all sorts of paths, which is really, if you just enjoy reading about the source material, it's a great place to go just to read up on the fluff really of the Empire.
Yeah. It's got some great covers on there too, like John Blanche and looks like Paul Bonner and Les Edwards. So some really amazing cover artwork on those. I love those books just to read. Yeah, just to flip through it and just look at the incredible artwork in there and just to read through them. So yeah, wonderful. And we come to the back page, of course, the back cover with our Eldar and our Blood Angel Marines battling it out there in the grim dark world, but it's very bright, colourful, and green and wonderful.
Yeah, nice dense foliage and just around there.
But really,
Silo, whatever it is they've got going on there.
Yeah, but a really good insight into the early days of Rogue Trader, I guess. All the heady days, the good days, I suppose, when Marines came in, metal, and you could get, the plastic arms for them, and of course, Jez Goodwin's classic Eldar were released. So probably coming towards sort of the mid or late part of the life cycle of Rogue Trader, but would have brought a lot of good memories for people, I think. who came into the hobby at this time. So
yeah.
Wonderful. Any other last comments about the issue, mate, that you want to make?
No, I think we've covered everything off.
I think we have. Yeah, so if you're a Space Fleet fan, you're in luck with 141. If not, you had a bit of a good insight into the Warhammer 40K universe, really with Space Fleet and the Rogue Trader article. Not a lot of fantasy. Good Space Marine articles in here as well. Just a nice, beautiful Mike McVey's Wood Elf army, of course, and how he built that and designed it. But yeah, no, an introduction to Space Marine, one of our most loved games. Still loved by so many. So
and they had another fight, another battle report, didn't they, with the epic scale, the same forces not too long later than this one, I think. The Blood Angels and the Eldar went at it again in an epic scale.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you could see that in the Epic Space Marine Battle book as well. It's like a compilation of White Dwarf articles. But yeah, that's right. Remember that one? Yep. That's amazing. I think that was about 6,000 points too, aside.
Yeah, huge for Epic anyway, in terms of what they had at the table.
Yep, it was massive. All right, Alex. Well, thank you very much again, mate, for joining me again.
No, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
No, anytime, mate. So it was really good to go through 141. It's a classic issue. Hope people have it still in their hands, in their collections. If not, go and grab it. Go and find one on eBay, or go and find one on auction or on sale somewhere, and get your slice of Warhammer history. But mate, take care. Thank you very much again, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
Okay, mate.